in via the old tablet. Let's see if I can't get it right. Mute.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of This Whole Everything. It is episode number 18. We got Lowell on the other end.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm looking for something.
So what do we got going on here? This is a show where we talk about comic books that I read, comic books that are coming out, a whole bunch of other junk, and just what it's like to own a store in Berkeley, California. I rock my chair back and forth, and this is my comic store, as opposed to the last few weeks, which has actually been in my office.
You mean basement?
my basement.
You know what I forgot to do? I forgot to set it to low latency or ultra low latency. So there's a delay for chat and stuff. Heidi ho, Fantinium.
Oh, yeah. Is there any way to change that?
Not at this point.
So we'll try and remember to take a look at chat. I'm sure it's going to be lame like it usually is. Hello, Diablo Hashcraft.
Now that I know what your name means. Hi.
Oh, and Bruja is here.
You gotta say it with some emphasis, man. Bruja.
Bruja.
Yeah, it's like it's got a built-in exclamation point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you are. Thor and Moon Knight right behind me, holding up our sign.
Those packages.
Oh, yeah, we pulled those out from the back, and I was like, oh, I really want to use these because, we always have, what we have to go on back here behind us. And
what's behind the curtain?
Yeah, well, we had them in the back room. I thought, all right, so I was kind of targeting a customer when I got that really awesome Chris Hemsworth Thor in the store so many years ago, but she wasn't biting.
I know who you're talking about.
So we used no, this is a different person.
Oh, my.
Yeah. This is earlier then. Anyway, so it didn't fly. We didn't make that sale. So we used Thor for a free comic book day to hold balloons and other stuff like that. And then Moon Knight was just something I kind of thought was cool, and I'd like to maybe put up on the wall. But of course, we never get around to doing anything. So it was just sitting in a box for a long time. And they came out as we were cleaning up, and I thought, oh, this would be cool as like a little background for here.
That is a fantastic story.
It's not a great story, but that's what happened, and there you go.
Okay.
That's the kind of crap we have back here.
Well, it's kind of like appropriate. Your comic book store, I would hope you'd have some comic book stand-ups somewhere.
Yeah, and I think it's at least it's only male stand-ups. No lady stand-ups. That's kind of.
Would it be a problem if they were women?
No, not at all. I'm just joking. I'm trying to be funny. Ha ha.
It looks to me like Thor is going for Moon Knight's, you know what?
Yeah, it's hammer. He's going to hit a home run.
Crushing blow.
Crushing blow.
Ow. So, Yule.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, my chair is making difficulties for me at the moment.
Yeah, no problem.
So what's new with you?
What is new with me? Well, firstly, I just want to let everybody know, if you are the kind of person that goes on to other comic book YouTube channels, you should definitely check out Discovery Bay Comics. It is a site, or it is a channel that JB hosts, and he lets everybody know about different shows that are going on throughout the day, and he updates daily, and it's a really good service for people like us that are just trying to get our show out to other people. So if you're looking for anything else, you should check that out, Discovery Bay. I wanted to talk about the Hulu thing that was going on with Disney.
Now the headline that I read, which is the only information that I have on this, suggests that Comcast just decided they didn't want to do it anymore. And I'm done.
You mean like deal with Disney?
I don't know. Just like they're done and now it's all Disney. That seems like a pretty bad financial decision on Comcast's part.
I don't know. Comcast, I don't think is going to have any problems because anything that streams needs internet, right? So Comcast is pretty set up, at least where they are set up. They're
All
pretty
right.
much the
All
number
right.
game in town. I don't know. Plus, it's still NBC, and they've got their own little thing. Unless they sell to Disney also eventually.
What would they sell to Disney?
Well, I don't know. Warner Brothers. Wouldn't that be great if Disney owned Marvel and DC? And then anything that DC owns, so like Charlton characters, and we could have Watchmen in the with the X-Men. That'd be a great little team up, don't you think? And then we could have Dr. Manhattan and Quasar in a story. Woo! That'd be really sweet. You don't know who Quasar is, but anyway, it's a lame character. So put him with the Dr. Manhattan. And you could have like Blue Beetle and Moon Knight. Oh, that's a great team up right there.
The Blue Beetle?
The Blue Beetle and Moon Knight. I think those two would be really good. And Chris Hemsworth and I don't know, Robbie Margot, or whatever that woman's name is. Harley Quinn.
Right. I was like, why is that name familiar?
I'm sorry. I get confused when it comes to Hollywood stuff. But yeah, so Hulu, from what I understand, was owned or run by a bunch of different companies, and they all had percentages in it. And basically, Disney, by buying the Fox stuff, got theirs and already had a majority in Hulu. And so Comcast was the next big thing. So they're just buying. Well, it sounds like they're kind of renting to own, something like that. So like in 2024, it's going to finalize, and then it will be all Disney. So Disney will have their own streaming service where they can do all their G-rated stuff, and they'll have Hulu, and anybody that wants to go through them will pay Disney. But again, like I said, out here it's Comcast, so Comcast still has their hooks in something. So don't cry for them.
I'm not crying for Comcast at all. They're an internet service provider as far as I'm concerned. They deserve whatever. But I don't like to see Disney taking hold of all entertainment.
I am a big wrestling fan, for those of you that don't know out there, and I watch a lot of WWFE, that type of stuff. And there was another company in the 80s and 90s called WCW, and they were the only competition that could take on WWF at the time. That's what they were called. And for a bunch of time, WCW basically was destroying WWF in the ratings. And it caused the WWF to really try harder. And it birthed the Attitude Era and like the Generation X era and stuff like that. I kind of screwed that up. But those of you that know, don't blast me too hard. Everybody else, it's just a time period.
Don't worry, people made a mistake. He doesn't want you to know.
Yeah, exactly. It's no big deal. Anyway, it's just time period, and it got really well known. That's where like Steve Austin came from, and DX and Suck It and stuff like that. And so they got really popular and really big, and they basically ruled the roost and got high ratings and made super crazy television deals and became an actual billion-dollar company. A wrestling company became a billion-dollar company. And that was like a big deal. And they basically destroyed WCW. WCW kind of overspent and were doing things that just really couldn't keep maintaining, a lot like a comic book store. They just kept buying a whole bunch of talent, and the talent didn't do anything. It just sat there on the shelves.
That doesn't sound like any comic book store I know.
Anyway, and so they basically failed, and ultimately WWF bought WCW, and there is no Kyle. There is no real competition for WWF. They are their own competition, and the product has gotten stale, and not unlike comic books, we have seen a drop in ratings. We have seen a drop in viewership, or people caring, or people purchasing the product near as much as they used to. Some of that's because of, so many different entertainments, so many different streaming services, including the WWE.
Well, they can't all have my money.
What was that?
They can't all have my money. I can't afford to have every single subscription service there is. I mean, I already have to pay for it for, what is it? Windows, not Windows, Word and all that. That's one. Netflix, there's another one. All your regular utility. Everyone wants to act like a utility, but they don't want to behave like a utility. So they can all suck it.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. 90s wrestling.
Exactly. I was bringing that back on purpose. My father, he would have called it wrestling, and he would have turned it off. No, you don't.
Wrestling. President Carter's mother was really into old Southern wrestling, and that also plays in with Ted Turner and WCW and WWF. Just kind of like with all, because they're all Southern. They're a Southern company. Ted Turner's TBS and stuff like that. But President Carter broke a hip and had surgery this week.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, that dude's old.
Yeah. But if my bitter old grandmother can survive a broken hip, so can he.
Yeah, well, he also beat cancer recently.
With what? What did he beat it with?
Probably a lot of money.
Vitriol, I'm guessing. Yeah, at this age, you're entitled to be just nothing but acid and vinegar.
Yeah, but the dude's still building houses and crap like that.
I admire Carter, but yeah, his presidency was supposedly kind of weak.
I love the last name.
Carter?
Yeah, sure.
There's a term for that. It's a fallacy where you're linked to something because of something that's artificial. There you go. I don't remember. Good story on my part, I realize, but if you're into the actual logic, logical fallacies, there's one in there for you, Yule.
In the 70s, growing up with the Carter last name, I had to hear Jimmy stuff all the time. And I'm like 7 years old. I don't know what the hell's going on. But I mean, Jesus, it almost made me resent him. But, overall, the dude was pretty cool. He was the one that was warning us about gas and put solar panels on the White House and all that stuff. You worked in solar or wind.
I worked in wind.
Yeah.
What about it?
Yeah, I don't know. That's cool stuff.
Reagan immediately took those solar panels off the White House.
Yeah.
It's kind of like undoing anything you don't like from the president before has a longer history than.
Yeah, sure.
Get those damn solar panels off my roof. It's a White House, not a blue house.
Could have just unplugged them or something. They could have just stayed there. I mean, I'm paying money to get rid of it.
Well, it was a nice gesture, but I think there are other buildings to do it to, not the White House. White House is like this iconic building. I don't want anybody putting solar panels on it either. It's like, you're gonna go do that to the Washington Monument? No, find a big building and put a bunch of solar panels up and call it a carbon tax or something.
Yeah, it is a big building and people live there.
What?
Never mind. I'm not getting an argument about solar panels on the White House.
Well, poop on you, Mr. Carter.
Anyway, I want to let everybody also know that I have received for the first time ever on a YouTube comment that I made 400 thumb ups, like that.
Give them a thumbs up, everybody. Cheers, you all.
Yeah, now, give us a thumb. Can I get 400 thumb up here?
Stop. Before you go into your story, I want you to be aware that we are experiencing robot lag.
I don't know what to do about that. We did everything.
We did the restart. Buddy. It's either your work computer or your work internet.
Yeah, it's probably the internet. I'm going to blame Eugene. I mean, we use some like janky service, I think.
God damn it, Eugene. What's the opposite of having the Midas touch?
Carter Luck.
No. You're not that. No. You're not like a superhero of negative luck.
Sometimes last week I felt that way. I was a real jerk on Twitter when we didn't get our comics on Wednesday or for Wednesday. I had all of Thursday off, and Marvel was retweeting all this stuff that were in their comic books that were like promoting all this stuff that was coming out. And I was like retweeting with comments, and I was just like a real super jerk about it.
Well, you were at the right venue.
Yeah, I was. The one thing I did find out, though, is that nobody cares. Like usual, nobody cares if I said anything. But the one thing I did say was in response to somebody else, and and it was about Dan Didio. And that guy you can dog on, and nobody has a problem with that. And they're going to probably be okay with it, too.
Why is that?
Well, nobody likes Dan Didio. I remember back in the Comic Relief days when Jordan worked here, he hated him. And Heather, who worked here at Fantastic Comics, she didn't like him either. He's usually screwing with characters that people like Nightwing. It would be the family characters or the legacy characters of like Flash would be Kid Flash or Wally West. And Nightwing is Robin or Dick Grayson, and he always has a real he has a problem with those characters for some reason. He really wants them to suffer. He did that to Roy Harper in the pre-New 52 days, and that was really bad. I hated that story. Anybody that read those Red Arrow stories where he was getting his ass handed to him like crazy. I mean, actually his arm being cut off, and I think his kid was killed, and he really went through the ringer, and it wasn't really fun.
Doesn't sound a lot of fun.
No, not really. I don't know. I don't think Roy Harper ever really had a redemption angle. The New 52 occurred, and then everything basically started over, or they kind of reset certain parts. It was all jumbled up and really screwed up, and it was what basically our stores started selling when we first opened was New 52. There was Marvel stuff, but we were starting to get our legs, and nobody was really coming in for anything except the New 52. They were really excited about it at first, but I was really skeptical. And since we were paying cash on delivery up front, I didn't want to get stuck with a whole bunch of DC crap, even though it was returnable. I kind of blew it, but you have to sign that check up front, so it is kind of scary, especially when you're first starting. So yeah, we were selling a lot of New 52, but it eventually stopped. Nobody really cared about Rob Liefeld's Hawk and Dove, even though he was working on it for 6 or 7.
Oh, good. Another Rob Liefeld book, huh?
Well, that was the other thing. New 52 really reeked of 90s Marvel. They got a lot of people from behind the scenes Marvel from those time and brought them over to DC, like Bob Harris and Tom, I think, came over, and a few other people like that. They were kind of like responsible for Age of Apocalypse and other things like that. And DC was trying to make a splash, and they're always trying to be. I mean, even when they have really high sales, they always seem to be, or I should say, even when their numbers of comics sold are really high, they never seem to really beat Marvel in the total sales, as far as like, dollar signs.
Well, Marvel's got that splash attack, they just throw a bunch of crap out there. Knowing
last month it seemed Marvel expanded their titles, whereas DC was lowering theirs. So where DC had about 52 titles, Marvel had like 110, something like that.
They just have different attitudes about how to proceed. with the one of them will clearly win. One of them is gonna go away.
Well,
I know which one I would rather see disappear, but I guess having both of them equally strong would be preferable.
Well, I mean, it's not like DC isn't strong. It's just they are actually spending. All right, so on Thursday, Marvel announced a whole bunch of teams that are going to be working on comic books going forward. There might be that 1000th issue special that we talked about earlier before the show.
That's insane.
That Marvel is putting out. It's
They're
like
fabricating. They're not putting out anything. They're making up stories.
Yeah, they're putting this book out, and it's going to have 1-page stories by super teams. You know, like Joe Hill and I don't know who it was. It was Mike Allred. I don't even know if it's for that. They just kind of say, oh, look, there's an advertisement for Joe Hill and Mike Allred. Oh, look, there's an advertisement for this person and that person. Kelly Thompson and this artist and this writer. And you don't know what for. You're just supposed to get hyped for it. Get hyped. Are you hyped? Are you hyped seeing these? Yeah, I know. Exactly. Mike Allred's doing something with Joe Hill.
As soon as you said Mike Allred, I was on board.
Yeah, exactly. So, so those things are cool. You just don't know how they apply. And, it's just, I don't know. So that's some of the stuff that's been going on lately.
This is an industry full of disappointment.
Yeah, we got our books on Friday. So it was very disappointing.
I bet. That was a lot of good times.
Get excited for something when, I have the store that's hanging on the balance. I can go get comics anywhere. But I'm trying to get them in here so that other people can get them. And when, screw ups occur, it's like it's probably, just one of those things that happen. But when you're thinking like, you're kind of a nettle of, luck, bad luck at least, it kind of, I don't know, it hurts the self-esteem.
Yeah. So this happened to you like a month and a half ago, didn't it?
Yeah, but that was on UPS that time.
It doesn't really matter who the cause was. The fact of the matter is it's happened to you twice in 2 months.
Yeah.
Feels good, don't it?
Oh, it's so tough, man.
Did they ever have that joke played on you when you were a kid? You want a Hertz donut? And you'd be like, what's a Hertz donut? And then they go, bam! And you go, ow. And they say, it hurts, don't it? And you say,
it hurts, don't it? It
yes,
did hurt.
Does. If that's your introduction to punnery, then I don't think it's going to go well for you.
Yeah, I got kicked in the shin a couple times with that one.
Hertz donut.
It does. Oh, you get it? You get it?
I'm going to start doing that to nephews and nieces and all of my friends' kids.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna be that guy. Keep them from coming over. Do you want to try something stupid?
Yeah. I mean, oh, yeah, sure.
I was thinking that we could kill the stream and bring it back up with ultra low latency to see if it'll solve the problem.
Okay.
But it would mean that anybody that's in here watching right now, I don't know if they'll automatically come over or not. They might have to actively do something, which means we might lose them.
Okay. We're going to do that, guys. Give us a second. Sorry about that.
5 minutes, but just check out the thing. I'm sorry to do this to y'all, but
we're going to talk about Hickman in just a few minutes also.
Ooh, building the hype. I like it. Good job. All right.
Let's talk about that X-Men really bad.
All right, bye.